Hi friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be going through the series object from the Pandas library. So let's get started. Now what is a series object? A series is a one-dimensional array-like object that contains a sequence of values, and these values have an associated array of data labels known as its index. Let's start by creating a series object ourselves. So here we are calling the series class from the Pandas library, and we are passing in a list of strings over here. Let's see what happens when we run this code. So here we can see that we get all the values that we passed in as strings, and along with that we also get this range of numbers from 0 to 4. Now what are these? These are the index of this particular series S1. Although we did not pass any index explicitly, Pandas created this index for us internally. If we call the index attribute on this particular series, we can see that there's a default index that starts at 0, stops at 5 with a step of 1. When we call this values attribute on the series, we can see that it shows us all the values that we passed in as string to this particular series. Let's create another series object, but this time around we'll pass an index to it explicitly. So here we had passed a list of strings which were the name of batsman, and the index was the associated countries, and we can see here that it shows us the names of the batsmen and it shows their countries as the index. Now both the series and the index can have a name associated with them, and we can set it by calling the name attribute and assigning a value to it. So we can do s2.name and call it batsman, and we can do s2.index.name and call it country. So when we run this, we can see here that the name of the indices is now country and the name of our series is now batsman. We can also use the index values to subset our series. For example, here what we are doing is we are passing this particular string AUS, which is one of the index values in our series, and here we are passing a list of index values to our series, and as you can see that we get a subset of our initial series S2 by just passing in these index values as lists. We can also create a series from a dictionary. In this example, you can see here that we have a dictionary called data, where the keys are the names of the countries and the value is the capitals of those countries. When we pass this dictionary to the series class over here, we can see that the index of the series is now the key of the dictionary, and the value of the series is the value of the dictionary that we passed. We can also change the order in which we want our series to be created. For example, we can specify this key order list over here, which tells us in what order do we want this data in our series, and then again we are passing the data dictionary, but here we are specifying the key order in which we want these values in our dictionary. And you can see this time around we have Russia, then you had India over here, now you have China over here, because we had specified the key order in which we want to see our data. Series has a lot of instance methods that help us do a lot of computation on series objects. We'll go into details of the different instance methods that are available for the series object, but just for an example over here, we are using the isNull method for our series, and basically it tells us whether each value in our series is null or not. And as we can see, we do not have any null values in our series. We see this false for all the values that we had in our series. One thing to note here is that while doing arithmetic operations, the series automatically align themselves by the index values. So in this particular example over here, we have a list called test index, another list called test runs, a list called ODI index, and ODI runs. So what we are doing over here is that we are creating two series objects, S4 and S5, wherein test runs are the values and test index is the name of the batsman who scored those runs in test matches. And similarly, we have S5, which has the name of the batsman and the amount of runs they scored in ODI. Now let's say we want to add S4 and S5. So when we try to add S4 and S5, we can see that only for the values which had common index values in both of these series, we get the sum, and for index values that did not overlap between these two series, we get this NaN over here. One more thing to note over here is that a series index can be altered by in-place assignment. So for example, we have this S4 over here, and let's say we want to change this index from these names to something else, let's say ABCDE. So we can just call the index attribute and specify the new index that we want to have. When we run this, we can see that the index for this particular series has now been changed to what we specified. That's it for this particular video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button and do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much.